Hello everybody, in this video we're going to go over the Book B, Unit 16 Vocabulary Words, numbers 1 through 30. Let's get started. Our first word is ancient. Ancient is an adjective and it means very old or from a long time ago. For example, Rome is an ancient city with many ancient buildings. So we use this word ancient to describe things like buildings or maybe cities that were built a very long time ago, or even when we're talking about people that lived a long time ago, we can call them the ancient people. So some other things that we can describe as ancient would be something like the pyramids and the Sphinx or the Colosseum. We can say they are ancient structures or ancient buildings. Our next word is anyway. Anyway is an adverb and it means in any case, anyhow, or no matter what happens. For example, she was sick but went to school anyway. So we can think of anyway as kind of saying even though. Even though she was sick, she still went to school. Or let's look at this example here. She hates chocolate, but she ate it anyways. So she doesn't like it, but even though she doesn't like it, she still ate it. And we do need to be a little bit careful with anyway and anyway. The second one has a space in the middle. So when we use this one, we're talking about how to do something, such as it can be done anyway. In any way, you can do this thing. These two words are different, so please be careful. Remember, this one, when it's together, means in any case or no matter what happens or even though. Our next word is appointment. Appointment is a noun and it is an arrangement to meet or do something at a specific time. For example, you need to make an appointment with the doctor. And appointment is something that places like a doctor's office or maybe even a hair salon will use so that they know who is coming and at what time. So usually they will have something that looks like this, like an appointment book, and they know that at this time and on this day, this is the person that's coming to see the doctor, or on this day at this time, this is the person that will get their hair cut. We call that the appointment. So before you go to a doctor's office or before you go get your hair cut, you need to make an appointment with that business. That way they can see you. The next word is archer. Archer is a noun and an archer is a person who uses a bow and arrow. So this word archer is talking about the person. It's not the action. This is the noun. So the person who's using this is what we call the bow, and this is what we call the arrow. The person is called the archer. And we have to be careful because the sport, when she is or someone is shooting the arrow into this target, is also called archery, but with a Y at the end. So it can be a little bit tricky to distinguish between the two of them. So just remember the archer is the person who is shooting the arrow. Let's look at the example. The archer aimed carefully at the target. Did you ever want to try archery? Did you want to be an archer? The next word is architect. Architect is a noun and an architect is a person who designs buildings. An architect is also the job that someone has, so we can say they are an architect. Let's look at the example. The architect for the new house showed us her designs today. So an architect, before a house is made, they need to draw the plan of the house. They need to tell where all the different rooms in the house will be and the size that every wall and every door needs to be. So that is what an architect does. They design the building, and then once they're done designing it, then the builders will build the building. Our next word is basic. Basic is an adjective and it means simple, having only necessary things. For example, I just need a basic camera. There are many things that have different styles so that people who have a job that has to do with it can get the more advanced one, such as this camera. So if you are not a photographer, you don't need this camera that can do many things and has many different lenses. You probably just need a basic camera. So something that's very simple and not special, that is what we call basic. I can say, I don't need this professional camera, I just need a basic camera. Same thing with a stove. If you are just a regular person, you probably just need a basic stove like this. But maybe someone who is a chef does not need the basic one. They need a professional one that has many different things and features such as ovens that they can use. So again, that is basic. The simple thing is basic. Our next word is beauty. Beauty is a noun, and beauty is talking about a person or thing that is good to see, hear, or feel. This word is not the adjective beautiful, but you can use it in a similar way. Just remember that it is the noun of the sentence. For example, I love the beauty of nature. If you were using this as the adjective beautiful, you would say, I love this beautiful nature. In that case, you're using beautiful to describe the nature. But here, we're using the noun beauty. You're talking about a thing, an actual thing. It is the beauty of something. So we can use this word beauty anytime that we want to talk about all of the beautiful things in a place. You can say, I love the beauty of a waterfall as it falls down. Or I love the beauty of the sun when it's setting. This word beauty is often used in poems, and one way that people will use it is like this. They will say, I see the beauty in blank. Maybe I see the beauty in the sky. Or I see the beauty in these flowers. Or even something simple such as, I enjoy the beauty of a summer day. Our next word is canyon. A canyon is a deep valley with steep sides. For example, the largest canyon in the world is located in Nepal. So a canyon is what we use to talk about this area in between these two mountains here, these two rocks. As you can see, it's very steep. Steep means that it goes just straight up. It would be very difficult to climb up these mountains here. But in the very middle of it, there's this space that goes all the way down. This is what we call the canyon. And usually there'll be some sort of water in the middle. Not always, but sometimes we can find that. So have you ever visited a canyon? Our next word is careless. Careless is an adjective and it means not paying close attention, not careful or watchful. For example, a careless driver didn't see the light turn red. So here are some things that are careless. If you walk in the street without checking for cars, we can call that careless. And remember, careless is an adjective, so we're using it to describe the person. We can say the girl was careless when she walked across the street without looking both ways. Or the careless girl walked across the street without checking for cars. Or we can say the careless man was walking while using his phone, so he didn't see the hole in the ground. Or we can say it's careless to not pay attention while cooking because a fire can start. Do you know of any other things that are careless? Number 10 is the word deaf. Deaf is an adjective and it means not able to hear. For example, many deaf people learn to talk with their hands. So we use this word deaf to talk about a person who can't hear. Maybe they had some accident and now they can't hear well, or some people are just born with an issue in their ear that makes it so that they can't hear. So of course, people who can't hear don't understand the language that we speak. Instead, they need to find a different way to communicate, and many times they'll do it by using sign language. So they'll make the alphabet letters using their hands, or they have other signals with their hands that mean different words. That is someone who is deaf. Do you know anyone who is deaf? Our next word is disabled. Disabled is an adjective and it means not able to do certain things because of a physical or mental condition. For example, parking spaces close to the store are for disabled people. Maybe you've seen parking spots like that before that have a symbol of someone on a wheelchair on them. We call those the disabled parking for people who can't walk for a very long time, so they need a special place to park their cars. Disabled is not only talking about people who can't walk, but just anyone that has a condition that makes it difficult for them to do things. For example, someone who is blind can be called disabled, or someone who has lost their leg or their arm can also be called disabled. Do you know anyone who is disabled? And what are some ways that we help disabled people in our country? The next word is entrance. Entrance is a noun and it is a place through which you enter. For example, the main entrance to the building faces the street. Another way we can talk about entrance is just the word entry, or even a door can be the entrance. It's just the place where you go in. And every building has an entrance where people can come inside. Sometimes the entrance and the exit are the same door, and sometimes they are different. Our next word is flash. Flash is a noun and it is a sudden bright light that shines and then disappears. For example, the flash of lightning was followed by a clap of thunder. I'm sure you've seen a flash of lightning before. It looks like this. The lightning goes across the sky, and for a short moment there is a bright light, and then the light disappears again. That is what we call a flash of light. So anytime that there's a bright light and then it disappears, we can call it a flash. You can say, I saw a flash of light in the sky, or I saw a flash of light coming from that window. Our next word is habitat. Habitat is a noun and it is the natural environment of animals or plants. For example, an animal may suffer if it is removed from its natural habitat. So every animal and even people have a habitat. We can say the habitat of the octopus is the ocean, or the habitat of the gorilla is the forest. A desert is also called a habitat, and a grassland is also a habitat. There are more than 4 habitats. These are just a few examples of them. Can you think of any animals and what habitat they live in? Our next word is hump. Hump is a noun, and a hump is a rounded lump of flesh, such as is found on the back of a camel. For example, here is a camel, and this part of the camel is what we call the hump. A hump is not only on the body of an animal or a person, but a hump can also be something like this that's found on the floor, just like in the example sentence. The car hit a hump in the road and crashed. So think about hump kind of as like a small bump that can be found on something, on the floor, on the ground, on your body. All of that can be called a hump. And we should be careful. Sometimes when we don't sit nicely, our backs can start forming a hump similar to a camel. Juicy. Juicy is an adjective and it means having a great amount of juice. For example, watermelon is a juicy fruit. And of course, the opposite of juicy is dry. So we can use this word juicy to describe anything that feels like it has a lot of juice when you bite into it, such as a watermelon or a lemon or strawberry. We can also use juicy when you're eating some candy and that candy feels like it has some juice or liquid inside of it, you can say it is juicy. Our next word is lyric. Lyric is a noun, and we usually use this word as a plural. So instead of saying lyric, we would say lyrics. So lyrics are the words to a song. For example, when my sister and I write songs together, she writes the music and I write the lyrics. So I have some examples of lyrics here. The song is Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and all of these words here is what we call the lyrics. They are the words to the song. So when you are singing a song, what you are singing are the lyrics. Do you know any lyrics to a song? Do you have those lyrics already memorized in your head? Our next word is microwave. Microwave is a noun, and a microwave is a machine that uses special radio waves to heat food and liquids. The example says, I can quickly heat my food in a microwave. So this is what a microwave looks like. We put our food inside and we can use this machine to heat up our food. Do you have a microwave in your home? What kinds of foods do you cook in the microwave? Our next word is misunderstand. It is a verb and it means to fail to understand correctly or give the wrong meaning to. For example, he misunderstood the teacher's directions. This word misunderstand, we often use it in the past tense because when someone doesn't understand something, it usually already happened. So instead of saying misunderstand, try to use misunderstood. Someone misunderstood something, maybe the teacher's directions or maybe a book, such as this. The book says, there were many bats in the cave, but this boy is thinking about this kind of bat, not the other kind of bat. So he misunderstood the story. He didn't understand it correctly. Someone can misunderstand something when a person is saying one thing, but maybe they are thinking about a different thing. That can cause them to misunderstand what someone said. Have you ever misunderstood something? What was the thing that you misunderstood? Our next word is muscle. Muscle is a noun, and muscles are the soft pieces of flesh in animals and humans that make the bones move. So your muscles are what's helping your bones move. Let's look at the example. Joe has weak muscles because he never exercises. Usually we can describe muscles as being weak or as being strong. And inside of your skin, this is what your muscles look like. Muscles are all over your body to help you move and walk and do all of the things that you need to do. Our next word is northern. Northern is an adjective and it means in, to, from, or having to do with the north. For example, we live in the northern hemisphere. Planet Earth is divided into two hemispheres. We have the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And depending where you live, you can live in the northern side or the southern side. Korea is over here, so Korea is in the northern hemisphere. It's in the north part of planet Earth. So we can say that we live in the northern hemisphere. Another way that you can use northern is to talk about the location in a city. When you're talking about the top part of the city, you can say it's the northern area. The lower part is the southern area. So northern is just the adjective used to describe the northern part, the top part of something usually. Our next word is pretend. Pretend is a verb and it means to imagine or make believe. For example, the children pretended that they were exploring the moon. So pretend and imagination kind of go together because if you want to pretend something, you have to have a good imagination. Here, the boy is pretending to be a superhero. The children are pretending to live in a castle. And these children are pretending to be different animals. He is pretending to be a rabbit and he is pretending to be is that a fox or a wolf maybe? That is pretend. Have you ever pretended to be something? Our next word is puzzle. Puzzle is a noun, and a puzzle is a toy or problem that you solve by thinking or by arranging letters, words, numbers, or objects. The example says, "It took us a few weeks to finish that jigsaw puzzle." I'm sure everyone has seen this kind of game. We call this one a jigsaw puzzle, where there is a large picture that's cut into different pieces and we have to put it together to solve the puzzle. But puzzle is not only this kind of game. Puzzle can just be any problem. Anytime there is a problem and you have to find some way to solve it, we can also call that a puzzle. The next word is raisin. Raisin is a noun, and a raisin is a sweet grape that has been dried for eating. For example, I like eating yogurt with sweet raisins in it. This is what a raisin looks like. Maybe you've seen this kind of raisin in cereal or inside of things like a muffin. They usually have raisins like this. Do you like raisins? And remember, a raisin is just a sweet grape. It's the same as a grape, it's just dried. All of the water has been taken out of it, so it looks very small like this, but it's still a grape. Our next word is sample. Sample is a noun, and it is a small part of something that shows what the whole is like. For example, they gave out samples of different cheeses at the store. Many times when I visit a store, I can see some stands like this where there is a worker and they have some samples of something that the people can try. The sample is just a small part of the bigger thing. Here it looks like there are some sausages. So she has a sample of some sausages. That way people can try them. And samples help people decide if they want to buy the bigger thing or if maybe they don't like it. That's why some stores give out samples like this. Have you ever tried a sample of something when you visited a store? Our next word is shortcut. Shortcut is a noun, and a shortcut is a quicker or more direct way to go somewhere. For example, I took a shortcut to the store and got there 10 minutes faster. Shortcuts help people go somewhere faster. For example, if you're thinking about it as a puzzle, we don't want to take the whole time to go all the way like this until we get to the end. Instead, we can cut across, and that is what we call the shortcut. Have you ever taken a shortcut when you're going somewhere? This is another example of a shortcut. Instead of going all the way like this, that takes a very long time, we can go down the ladders instead, and that would be a shortcut to make the game end faster. People often use the word shortcut when they're talking about going somewhere. So you can take a shortcut to go to the store, you can take a shortcut to go to the park. That is the most often way that we use this word, shortcut. Our next word is smash. Smash is a verb and it means to crack into pieces. For example, the windows smashed during the earthquake. Or maybe if you drop something that is glass on the floor, then you can say it's smashed. Here you can see this machine is smashing this pumpkin. Another way that you can say smash is by saying just break or crack or crash or shatter. All of those mean the same as smash. Have you ever smashed something before? The next word is smoke. Smoke is a noun, and smoke is the black, white, or gray gases that you see in the air when something burns. For example, the smoke went up the chimney. And smoke doesn't always talk about fire. We can also see smoke like this when you are heating up some water. So this is what we call smoke. Can you think of some things that make smoke when you heat them? Our next word is supper. Supper is a noun, and supper is an evening meal or dinner. Basically, supper is just a synonym of dinner. So instead of saying dinner, you can say supper. For example, I'm having a light supper because I had a big lunch. And this word supper, I can change it for dinner. I can say I'm having a light dinner or I'm having a light supper. They are both the same. It's just a different way of saying dinner. So next time you want to say that you had dinner with your family, why don't you try saying I had supper with my family instead? The last word is unknown. Unknown is an adjective and it means not familiar or not known. For example, that author is unknown to me. Or, we walked through the unknown streets. The opposite of unknown, of course, would be famous, someone or something that many people know about. But when we use unknown, we are talking about something that you do not know or people do not know about. For example, the item inside of this box is unknown. Nobody knows what it is. Or the location of this door is unknown. No one knows where this door is. Do you know any other things that would be unknown to you or to other people? Maybe we can say that it is unknown if there are other people in the universe or other living things in the universe. And that's all for this video. We went over the Book B, Unit 16, Vocabulary Words, numbers 1 through 30. Thanks for listening and see you next time.